Hello, welcome. The time now is near 7 o'clock. So this, again, we are doing the Tuesday. On Tuesdays, I go live where I answer some questions that have been asked by you APC candidates. Yeah. So if you've got any question regarding the RICS APC that you would like to answer live, post it below this video. And every Tuesday, I come here to answer these RICS APC questions. Today, we are going to do something slightly different. What I've observed is that in many cases, candidates know that they are supposed to do an APC presentation. And the presentation itself is drawn from the case study. But what I've seen is that there are so many variations of the presentation. Some candidates end up summarizing the whole of the case study and make it into a presentation. Here is the correct way of doing it. And before I tackle that correct way of doing it, what I want to do is quickly talk about what is happening on the other side of the table. How is your presentation marked? What assessors look at during that 10 minutes presentation? First of all, they look at your oral communication skills. Then, the next thing that they have to consider is the clarity of your thought and the structure of the presentation. And the third bit that they cover are the presentation skills. By that, they look at the eye contact so that, for example, throughout the presentation, you're looking directly at the audience. In this case, because you're doing it online, you should be looking directly at the lens of the camera. The other thing that they will be checking on you is the body language that you use during the presentation. This could be the use of some gestures, for example. And they would also be looking at the voice projection, how you project your voice for the audience to hear. When they are making the assessment, they are thinking about how you're going to present yourself as a potential chartered surveyor. And then the last thing they look at are visual aids that you have used. The question about visual aids is that the visual aids have to support what you're talking about. And the visual aids are optional. You don't have to have visual aids. But it's good, and it's a good idea to have visual aids because they can easily support a point of view. Now, the thing that I want to talk about today is the structure of the presentation. This is where most of the variation comes in. The idea of a presentation is that you have to demonstrate your problem-solving abilities. In other words, you are telling the panel as to how you solved one of the customer's problems. Yeah? Just one of the problems. Yeah? So that problem, what you want to do is to make sure that you cover the depth on how you did it. So, in the example of a case study, where in your case study you've just used one key issue, it's simple for you because all you have to do is talk about that single key issue. In a case where you've covered more than one key issue, I recommend that you just look at one key issue. Yeah, the strongest key issue is what you look at. And what you do, of course, as any presentation, you start with introduction. Think about the introduction as a way of telling your audience what you're going to talk about. And then you come to the body of the report. And in the body of the report, what you're going to be talking about, first of all, you have to identify what the key issue was all about. Why did you consider it was an issue rather than a run-of-the-mill problem that is just an ordinary problem that you do in your everyday working life? So first of all, you identify it and clarify why you consider it to be a problem. Then after that, what you need to do is to identify 3 or 4 options that can be utilized for solving that particular problem. And then you tackle them one at a time. What were the advantages or the pros and cons of a particular solution? Why did you reject some of the options? So, for example, if you rejected 3 options, you pick those options, analyze them by indicating what the advantages of using those options to solve the problem would have been. What were the disadvantages? Why did you not pick them? So one at a time, you go into that. And then you pick the solution that you went with. And after that, explain in detail why that was a preferred solution. And then we get to the implementation stage, where you implemented that solution that you chose. And then you analyze it. Was it a success? Could you have done things any better than you did? And then you give a reflective analysis of the experience gained. And then finally, you do your conclusions for your presentation. So this could be a summary of what you have just told them. Yeah, that's all that needs to be included in a presentation. And in there, you can decide as to whether you want to use some visual aids or not. That's optional. But in most cases, visual aids actually enhance what you're talking about. Because from a picture or an image, you can see exactly how you solved that particular problem. Let's summarize. The way you do a presentation is just pick one problem. Don't make it complicated. Just use one problem. What the panel is looking for are your problem-solving abilities and then your presentation skills. Remember, the things the panel is looking at as part of the assessment are your oral communication skills, your clarity of thought and the structure, your presentation skills that cover the body language, the voice projection, and the visual aids that you've used, if any. Thank you for listening. I hope that clarified some points regarding what should be included in an APC presentation. And you can see from what we've just discussed so far, it has taken just about 10 minutes. So if you can imagine, if I try to do more than one key issue or talk about more than one key issue, it would mean that I would have run out of time. So that's the reason that you need to pick just one key issue. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening. If you've got any queries regarding the RICS APC, just put some comments in the comments box below, and I'll tackle the questions that you have next Tuesday. See you later.